Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Hour of the Horde by Gordon R. Dickson. This is a book from 1970. It's from DAW. It's a classic sci-fi. If you haven't checked out one of my classic sci-fi book reviews before, I basically give you a small little mini review with no spoilers. Then I go through full spoilers where I tell you the plot based on my faulty memory and my poor comprehension skills. And then I go through my classic sci-fi bingo, which is jumping off points to talk about the book in more detail. So let's get into it. Interesting enough, Hour of the Horde is entertaining. What is it about? Annihilating everything before it, a horde of monstrous space travelers were advancing through the stars, and Earth lay in their route. To defend their home planets, the worlds that lay in the path of the monsters I can never read this sentence, created a super defense force, asking each planet to contribute one especially talented warrior to help turn the invaders away. Miles Vander was Earth's man, but when he arrived at the rendezvous point, he found that he was included in the special task force of the less civilized defenders. But in the contest of advanced nuclear weaponry and computer strategy, it turned out to be Vander's group that had the special independent qualities and the raw courage to meet the challenge the most effectively. There's not a lot to say about this one, really. The premise is fun, and Miles is a deviation from the usual stalwart male main character of the time period, in that he has a real personality, albeit not entirely likable one. In certain respects, this book reminds me of the Captives War books by James S. A. Corey, in that we have a character thrown into a spaceship with other species. The writing is also a step above the time period's usually dry and slow-paced didacticism, as there are some kind of flowery sentences here and there that were actually quite nice. But if I took a shot of rum every time the book said suddenly, I would be in the hospital. I would probably be dead. It's like every other page is suddenly this, suddenly that. Oh my god, oh my god. The book has two fairly interesting side alien characters, but they lack the depth of, current modern books of what they give to aliens generally. Overall, it's a quick read, but nothing overly memorable except perhaps the main character's obsession with hysterical strength, something that pervades the entire novel and seems to be kind of the point of it. So I'm going into my spoilers now. So if you have not read Hour of the Horde and you intend to, do not listen to this because it'll give it all away. So we have Miles, a painter in university. He's pissed because his art doesn't look the way he wants it to. Common problem with artistic people. He's so frustrated he doesn't care that the sun has turned red. He meets his girlfriend for lunch and she's like, why don't you care about this major world event? And he explains that he's just so obsessed with his idea of hysterical strength to bother about aliens showing up. So basically, he explains this. I'm going to try to paraphrase. So he was painting one day and he was painting so well and he got so into the zone that he was painting the best thing of his life. But then these hooligans show up and they steal his paintbrushes. And as he's chasing the one hooligan to get his brush back, another one steals his actual canvas and runs away up this cliff. And so Miles, because he's so angry, he climbs the cliff and gets the painting back. But the twist is that Miles actually only has one working arm because he had polio as a child and his arm doesn't work. And so he managed to climb this cliff one-handed. And so he talks about how this hysterical strength was a huge part of this, to be honest, I reread this part a couple times trying to understand, and I'm not entirely sure what this has to do with his painting, but it seems like he's kind of thinks it has to relate to his creativity too, or maybe it's like a mental block he has. It's not really clear. Anyway, on the TV, two aliens show up and explain that there's a massive horde of other aliens coming to strip the planet of all resources, like in the movie Signs. And Earth's only hope is to align with the other aliens, and they need one Terran to come and help. So the two aliens then show up where Miles is and take him for no apparent reason. They explain to him the situation and they send him back to Earth, where everyone in the world, in the entire world, has been told to ignore him. And somehow everyone knows this. He does visit his girlfriend, though, and she doesn't ignore him. And then he wanders around the world and realizes how wonderful the planet is, filled with this love for humankind and his own world. He goes to the alien ship. They send him to a smaller ship with 22 other aliens from different species, all of them who are engaged in this kind of pecking order fight for leadership amongst themselves. So Miles, of course, is at the bottom of the pack and befriends a cat-like alien by beating him up, as men do, and then they team up to take down all the others. So Miles's goal is not to be the leader of the pack, but he wants to kind of get control of them so he can work with them to make the fighting tugboat, which is the name of their ship, worthy to fight. So while he was kind of going through this kind of pecking order ladder. He discovered that the center aliens, which is what they call I guess the main aliens, the ones that are controlling everything, had only intended like his ship to be a bolster for the psychic force of the other aliens due to their overly emotional, less civilized nature. So they practice and practice and practice overcoming this until the day comes. The center aliens also have an AI, and the AI tells them when the monsters show up that, oh yeah, you guys have no hope. So the center aliens are like, well, the AI said so. So everyone just take off. Don't just hide. It's fine. We'll just, it's fine. Just hide. Of course, Miles is like, screw that, and attacks. With their combined hysterical strength, they destroy one of the Horde's ships. So the other aliens, the center aliens, are like, oh my god, the AI was wrong. And the AI is like, actually, I'm recalibrating. Yeah, you have a small chance. So they all combine together, and then the Horde, they realize that these people are fighting back, and they turn tail and they leave. Yeah, very anticlimactic in that point. Miles returns home after this, where he set up an ambassador kind of ship between the aliens and himself, and they're trying to like prepare for the future because they're like, one day the center aliens aren't going to have all the power. We'll have the power. We'll defend ourselves. We just can't forget that this happened and all this stuff. And his painting has improved. Oh, and he marries his girlfriend. Happy ending, I guess. So my classic sci-fi bingo, outdated science. Not really. It's set in the 70s and everything has 70s technology, so there's nothing really outdated for the time period. A spaceship blows up. I guess the Horde ship counts the ones that they blow up, so sure. There's no social changes. There's no sexy female scientists. The aliens, they're not really cool. They're kind of boring. They like to look like humans. Oh, here's the Horde aliens. Suddenly, the image of something like a white furred weasel with hands on its two upper limbs and standing erect on its two hind legs filled the television screen. Beside it was the gray outline of a man, and it could be seen that the creature came about shoulder high on the outline. So that's the bad aliens. And then in terms of the aliens on the ship, all were four-limbed, standing upright on the lower two and with hand-like appendages at the end of their upper pair. They were all of roughly the same size and proportions and general shape. There was a tremendous variety. So I guess we get convergent evolution in the universe. No two had the same skin color. No two had the same facial appearance. All had roughly similar features as far as possessing two eyes and a single nose and a mouth was concerned. But from there on, everything was different. Their appearance ranged from that of the completely innocuous, oh my god, to the completely ferocious. From one being who seemed as round and indefensive as a toy bear, to one who seemed a walking tiger, equipped with a pair of ripping teeth projecting from the upper jaw of his lower lip. Yeah, so we have bear aliens, tiger aliens, elf aliens like this guy. It's like confused or concerned. Ancient tech and ruins? No. There's no generation ship. There's no space soldiers. They're not really soldiers. AI and robots. We never see the AI, but in the sense the AI is a big part of the plot, I would say that yes. No new worlds, no cyberpunk, no sexism, because Marie, when she's in the book, she speaks her mind. She's a woman with career aspirations, but she's in the book for like 6 pages, and there's no other women in the book. There are no female aliens. Yes, this is a very, very androcentric book. Reptile aliens, no. There's no gay people. There's no black holes. Miles is teleported a lot, but it's not really explained how, and yeah, but that doesn't count. No microfiche. Male MC is a dick. Kind of. Miles isn't really a dick, but he's hard to like. He has this like obsession, like when he's ranting on and on to Marie, and she's just like, oh my god, like you're like, oh my god, this guy's annoying. But he overcomes his obsession with art, and so that was good, but I never really like warmed to him. Kind of here's his opinion, which is like very funny. Miles turned and looked out the bedroom window, which also looked onto the small strip of grass of the interior courtyard. Beyond the strip of grass was a bare concrete wall. He looked at that and saw nothing on it. No mark, no shape. It was nothing but a featureless wall. Equally blank was the reaction he felt within him towards the rest of the world. In spite of what Marie had said, in spite of what these aliens seemed to think, it was not people that mattered to him, but painting. And then, leaping out of nowhere, as if to clutch at his throat and stop his breathing, came a sudden understanding. If his world were wiped out, if his race were destroyed, what would become of his painting? No post-apocalyptic, no wild weapons. Racial equality, Miles and Marie are the only people in the book, so no. Though I will note, when Miles goes to other countries, they aren't described in a reductive or stereotypical way, which I thought was really good. I was like, oh, I thought that they were going to go to like, I don't know, I don't want to say stereotypes, but you know the kind of stereotypes people have, especially in the 70s of other cultures. So I was like, oh, there's none of that. Cool. There's no mind possession. There is galactic war. There's no time travel. There's no Bechdel test. There's none of my quick pick bonus either. But overall, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun. I read it at the cottage, and it was a nice, light little read. You know, like, it was fast. It's very short. Yeah, I've read it. I've read a couple of Grenard Dickson. I think at least I have a bunch on my shelf. I can't remember what any of them were called. Yeah. So let me know in the comments if you've read this, what you think about it. I know on Goodreads, because I always kind of scope out what other people think sometimes. People were saying they read this as like when they were teens and they really enjoyed it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So let me know if that's you. And